All right, so hello everyone, and welcome to week this is 13. This week we're going to go ahead and look at the app bar, and this app bar, as well as the lecture from last week, which was a dialogue, is needed to get assignment 7 done. And I'll talk about assignment 7 right after going over what's due for this week. So we have assignment 6 due tonight. And so today we're going to cover the app bar. I will post a lecture once we are done and I get the link there. Week 13, I did get somebody say that I was off in the topics for the discussions. I do apologize about that. Like, nobody told me before, even in the class, last class. So I'm going to go ahead and work on those, making sure that they're up to date. But with that, I am behind on grading. I apologize, but I will get on top of it soon. So, assignment 7 is the next assignment that we're going to be doing. And then I've also posted the fantastic finale. This fantastic finale, as you're going to see, is just adding um, two more things, features to your app. But assignment 7 builds on assignment 4, 5, 6. And then the final also builds on assignment 7. Okay, so for the reference code, there's a criminal intent, chapters 15. I'm not sure why there's a 5, but it's chapter 16 of the book. So it is chapter 15 of the Android Studio book. And so let's go ahead and get started. So first, I'm going to talk about assignment 7. So assignment 7, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add this little icon. Okay, this right here is called an action bar. So some of us might have it, some of us might not. And that's okay if you don't have it. I will show you how to get that in there as part of today's lecture. Okay, so, but don't worry, if it's not there, we're going to make sure it's there. So we're going to have this plus icon. And this plus icon is going to allow us to add a new glucose monitor entry. So when you click on here plus, then you're going to be able to click on this where it says choose new date. Once you choose the new date, you're going to see a dialog picker, the date picker right here, and it's going to bring us to the current day. So whatever day this is. In this case, it was October 2023, or sorry, November 7, 2023. Okay. So then once you open this, you're going to go ahead and select your date. And then once you select your date, it's going to be grayed out and you get to enter the information here. You click on history and it should take you back here or back to the list right here. Okay, so that's one thing. Once you pick a date, you can't edit that date. Okay, you're just sorry, you cannot change the date. So you should be only able to pick it once, and once you click on it, it grades out for you. Okay, and then after that, then you edit things, click history and updates. You can update all the rest of the information like fasting, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Those values you can update, but you cannot update the dialog picker or the dialog, yeah, the date, and that is because date is that primary um, the primary key for the database. Okay, so this should be updated in your database. And there's some sample or some stuff here, like for example, updating the DAO. I will show you some of that sample code, the implementation. These are probably already in your code, so but in case you don't have it, this is how you would add it. Make sure to update it to the newest version. I think it's 1.13 or something like that. But I will show you that. And then there's more detailed on some reference notes, such as the navigation. How we're going to do the fragments. We're going to be adding an argument called the gdate, an action to select the date, so we can open the date picker, and then the argument, which is new. And this is, for example, if you click on the date and this is a new entry, then it should say, yeah, this is a new entry. So let's go ahead and put everything together, or like let's enter new information. But if the date already exists, then we can go ahead and pull that information from the database. And again, there's more information on things that you can go ahead and, or you're going to go ahead and add. For example, your glucose view model factory. So the view model factory here would be you're adding this value where it helps you determine whether it's new. If it's new, then you create everything new. But if the data already exists, then you're just pulling that information from the date. Okay, and so there's some more information there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with today's lecture. It's very short, but that is okay. Okay, short is good. That means, you have a lot to do. And so then from here, I'm going to show you how to do these things. Kind of point you there. I was working on assignment 7. I didn't get the chance to finish it, but I'm almost there, and I have something that I could definitely demo. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, and I forgot. Oh yeah, I am recording. Okay, so the app bar, that is this chapter 15 of the Android Studio book. So the goal here is to add a menu option. So right here, this is called the application bar. Okay, and it's this feature or this purple area here where you have the name of the app, and then you can go ahead and add more menu options here. So it's called an action item, and this action item for the book, the project that we're working in the book to add a new crime. Okay. All right, so then we add a menu option to the app bar that lets users add a new crime. And so by default, the app bar in criminal intent already has a simple app bar in place. So if you have criminal intent, you already have this running. You download it, already has it for us. But if it doesn't, right? So let's first talk about what it is. So using the app compact library, so Android Studio sets all new projects up to include an app bar by default for all activities that extend from the app compact activity. And so it does this by adding the new Jetpack app foundation library and the material components library dependencies applying into the app comp themes that include the app bar. So how does that look? Well, in your build Gradle, you can go ahead and add the dependencies by just doing implementation Android X app compact 1.7, and this is an old version, but I think it's 13 right now. And then implementations again, material implementations. Okay, so this allows us to have these app bar. You can also go ahead and declare in your TOML file, and by doing this, you do the implementation libs material. That's what you would be adding in your Gradle file instead of your implementation with all these information there. In your libraries, how it would look, it would be material group or material and then group all this, and the material number would be 1.13. I will show you how that looks. All right, so how do we get the theme, the app bar to show up on our app? Okay, well, we're gonna have to go ahead and modify this resource XML file. So it's inside of resource, and then there we have values, and then there we have themes. And there's two themes. There's the normal day theme and the night theme, and both of them can have this same one. Okay, so pretty much we're gonna go ahead and change this to make sure there's a theme dot material component. So I think you might have material 13 as of right now, so change it to material components, and then make sure to add the dark action bar. So you might have something like material 13 day night dot no action bar. So this removes, or it says there's no action bar, there's no app bar there. But if you change it to here, then you can go ahead and add it. Now, this is a great way to go ahead and change the color of your app in general. So for example, in here, we have the primary color, in this case, purple. By default, I think we have it in black. Mine is doing in black. I don't think I changed any of this, but this is where you would go ahead and change the theme, the color theme of your app. I think we've done this before, might have not, maybe in a previous assignment we did. All right, but this is how to do it if you want to do it moving forward, right? All right, so then you would have to also make sure that our Android manifest has this. So in here we have Android theme and then theme dot and then the name of the app. Now, you might already have it there by default. Mine had it, so yours probably has it too. But if not, make sure that it does display your manifest. So the menu. So the top right area, this small, okay. So the top right area of the app bar is reserved for the app bars menu. And this menu consists of action items, sometimes referred as the menu item. So we can add an action item that allows the user to create a new item, for example, with that plus. We can go ahead and this is, an example of something that you can actually add for your final would be a delete, right? You might have a little recycle bin icon there that says go ahead and delete this entry. Totally fine. That's one example. There's more where example send. You want to send this information to somebody via text, via another application, whatever you want. That's another. So all these are the um, menu items, okay? So we need to make sure that we add a string for the menu. So in this case, and again, this is in the resource value strings XML file. We're just adding the string like we've been adding strings through the whole project. Same way you would create something like a new crime. I did like new glucose and then just add something like a name. Okay. All right. So that's for the strings. Now we also want to go ahead and create a menu resource directory. In this menu resource directory, you can just go ahead and right click on the resource uh, folder here. And after you right click on it, then you can go ahead and create a new resource directory. Then you go in here, name the directory menu, and make sure the resource types, you scroll down and find menu in there. And you press OK, and then you're going to have like a menu directory like these others. What are we going to put in there? Okay, and I will show you in a little bit. In there, we're going to go ahead and create this app bar layout. Okay, and I will show you how that looks. And we're going to do it for the glucose entry as well as the history. Now, to add a new menu icon, what we're going to do is we're going to go back in here and then in drawable, we're going to right click on it and we're going to go ahead and create a new vector asset. And then this vector asset, we're going to go ahead and click on clip art. Add whatever name you wanted. I just put IC menu add, I think I did _24 because that was the default. I just left it like that. And then you click on this clip art right here and then select the icon that you want to use. And then from there, you choose the color. I did mine white since my app bar was by default black and I didn't want to go change it, so black was okay for me. So then I just changed this to white, but this is how you would do it. Now you can go ahead and add your own SVG files. Just make sure that you add these files to your project folder so that you can access them there. So it's a local file. And you can go ahead and go to Google, and Google has a list of so many SVG files. I recommend SVG files, so you could also do a PSD, as SVG allows us to remove the background. It's a vector, so it's really nice. But you can go ahead and create your own icons if you'd like. Okay, but as of right now, this is how I did it. Just clip art, click here, click on the menu item. I just scrolled down, found this one, and then added this, and then changed my color here. Okay, and click next, and then you have this. All right, so menus are a type of resource similar to layout, and XML description of the menu could be created and placed into the menu directory of a project. And so Android generates a resource ID for the menu file, not the menu file, that you can use to inflate the menu code. So how do we find menu? So I just showed you. We created a new resource directory, and then from there we're gonna right click on it, and we're gonna go ahead and create a new resource type to menu, and this one should be called like fragment. For us would be glucose list or fragment entry list. Okay, I will show you. So in here, so you click on resources, new, and then Android resource directory, and then menu to go ahead and create that menu directory. And after you create the menu, then you go ahead and right click and do new, and then menu resource file. And then after this menu resource file, you just go ahead and create, call it whatever, and make sure that the source is set in main and the directory name is inside of menu. Okay, you press enter and it will generate it for you. So once you create that, you're going to get pretty much a blank item here where it just says menu and then menu here. We're going to go ahead and add the item. How do we do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and call in this item, and then the Android ID, whatever you want to call it. In this case, new glucose is one of them. We're going to add the icon. So at drawable, this is where your icons are living for right now, your drawable resource folder. Okay, so in here, the name of the icon that you decide to name it, and then the title, and then app show us action, and then if room with text. Okay, so that's how you would use or edit this fragment list XML file that you created here. That's like the only thing that you need to add. And every time you want to add a new item, like I said, the recycle bin or the send little icon, you can go ahead and just add the items here. Okay. That's how we do it. Now to inflate the menu resource, we're gonna go ahead and first we're gonna edit the crime list fragment, and on here, so first, there's different ways of doing this, okay? Now this might be in a deprecated way, and I believe I showed you how to do this in the code. How to do it, this is a deprecated way. There's a newer version of this, and I will also show you how that is done. But pretty much in here, we're gonna go ahead and call in this menu host value, and then menu host equals to require activity, and then menu host dot add menu provider. The object, you're pretty much copying like all of this. So you create a function call on create menu to inflate the menu icons, menu items in there, and the inflator we call in the name of the file. And then we also create another function call on menu item selected. And then here we have to handle this selection. In this case, for us, it would take us, when we click on this, it will take us to that new entry using navigation. Okay. So this is how it looks. So the new crime action item is in the app bar right here. When you do it in landscape, so notice here, right, we just have the plus, but when we put it in landscape, we actually get the name of it. So in this case, the name of the action called new crime. And this is why we define it in our string. Okay. All right, so responding to menu selections, how do we do that? Well, we have to go ahead and modify some of our files. The first one is a data access object, and in here, we're gonna go ahead and update. So we're gonna do suspend function update, and then for us it was a crime, and then add insert. So we're going to go ahead and add, in our case would be add glucose. Okay, so these are the two things that we have to go ahead and add to our DAO. All right, so then we have to also pass it through another layer, and that's the repository layer. And so in here we have our class, right, repository here, private constructor. So this we have from previous code. We're going to go ahead and update our glucose, and what we're just passing is the coroutine scope launch and the database DAO, and updating that glucose. Okay, so and again, add a crime in the case they're adding crime, but for us would be add a glucose. We're doing the same thing. We're just passing that through a repository. Okay. So adding a new crime. To do this, right, inside of the view model, right? So instead of a list view model, we just have to do a suspend function to add the crime, and then we're just calling in that repository to go ahead and add the crime. Now, responding to a menu selection, again, using in the crime list fragment. So once you've handled the menu item, you should return true to indicate that no further processing is necessary. And when we do this, so when we were adding on menu item selected, we return right here when true is indicated, right? So we go ahead and create our new crime. In our case, would be our new glucose to show our new glucose. It's true. Okay. And so now looking at the private function, instead of our list fragment for the new, to show the new crime, in this case, we're going to do the view live recycle and life cycle scope launch. We add that new item, right? For us, our new value would be glucose, of course, our ID, and here would be our date, because that is our primary ID. And then calling the list view model, we added the use navigation controller to take us to whatever. Okay, so we went ahead and changed this. Whatever you decide, you can go ahead and keep it as Android Studio, because when you do this navigation, Android is gonna go ahead and give you this information here. I went ahead and changed it because it was kind of long, but that's what you would need. Okay. So then excluding the pre-populated database, to do this, we can go ahead and remove that create from asset database name, so that we don't have to uh, what's it called, pull in from that database that was already pre-populated. All right, so when we try running the app in this case, we're going to have this criminal intent criminal intent in this case list that it's blank, nothing there. We click on the plus button, the information is added, and then when you press back, that new entry has been created. It's the same idea for us. Okay. All right, so for assignment 7, I forgot to put a title here, but we're pretty much adding the app bar, and we add the app bar menu item on the glucose list screen. When tapped, we navigate to the glucose entry screen to create a new daily record, and this new entry must start with no data entered. Users must select the data using the date picker dialog and a new entry behavior. Then we use the choose new date, the date pick. Oh, so with the new entry behavior, the user taps a new date, the date picker opens up, the date is chosen. If the date exists, then we load it from the database. If the date does not exist, then we create a blank new record. So after picking the date, we cannot change it. So after you pick the date, it's going to gray out and say that because the date is the primary key. Okay, so let's see, are there any questions? Are there any questions? No? Okay. All right. So if no questions, I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the code. All right. Give me a moment. All right. So let me go back and let's talk a little bit about the date picker first. Okay, so for the date picker is the fragment. Okay, and if you check out the code that's in Android, the Android Big Nerd Ranch Android Studio book, it's pretty much the same code, right? So in here we have the date picker, which is the dialog fragments. Again, you just go ahead and right click on here, and then new file, and then from here you just go ahead and create the class. Okay, but pretty much we have an argument called date picker fragments by the navigation argument. Then we have the calendar here, and we have the set fragment result. Okay, and then we're returning the date picker dialog. In here we have the listener initial year, initial month, and day, initial day. Okay, and we have some companion objects. Literally the same thing as in the book, just so that we can pull up this date picker dialog fragment. Okay, now what are we adding here? So in our navigation, so after you create this, if you don't create this, then nothing's going to show up in your navigation bar. Okay, so after you do this, go to navigation, and then in your navigation graph, actually this is small. Okay, in your navigation graph, let me move this. All right, so you have this. We're going to go ahead and add a few things. So first, let me go ahead and change to this view. Okay, so in this view, this is so small. All right, so in this view, I could just put this here. All right, so in this view, we should already have this glucose history and this glucose entry, and then we just have the date picker fragment. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, add new, and then you should see the date picker fragment here. So we're going to go ahead and add that here. Okay, after you add it there, so notice that if you don't add it this way, you might be having trouble, and then Android Studio might start complaining and not find things for you. So do it that way. All right, so after we have that, we're going to go ahead and you're going to see that there's this dialog here. Okay, and this dialog is a date picker fragment. The label is just pick date. And then we're adding that G date. So this is part of assignment 7, and there's more information on this dialog here. All right, so once you have that, we're going to be adding a few arguments. One of the arguments is, or glucose ID was already there, so we're going to add the is new. This allows to say, if it's new, then go ahead and do that. Okay, go ahead and create a new entry. And then there's an action, right? The action here is to go ahead and select the date. Okay, uh, and then if we go ahead and click on select date, then we can go ahead and open up the date picker fragment. Okay, so let me go ahead and run this. See if I didn't break it. So in here, okay. So when you click on plus, it's here, and then I can click on today's date, and then press a date here, and then once I press a date, I can go ahead and change the information here. So for example, 100, I don't know, 120, 123, 122. And then when I press in history, I forgot, I think I did number 14. I can't remember what I think I did the 14th. Yeah, I did the 14th. Okay. So notice now when I click on it, this is grayed out. Okay. And I can go ahead and clear it. And I can go ahead and edit it. But when you click on history, number 12 is there. Oops, it should be. I mean, there was a missing item, so that's why it went back here. But I can go ahead and edit it. So just so you can see, it did update. Okay. Let's put it back to 80. All right, so remember, see that the date picker is grayed out. But if I go back here, again, you click on here, the date picker shows up. So this is the date picker. Okay. All right, so that's that. This is how we get, our date picker to show up on our screens. All right, so then again, this is the strings here, and then I went ahead and did a string name called new glucose, and this is just to add. So if I show you, oops, right, if I rotate my screen, oh, I forgot, let me go back here. Okay, so in here we have the add, but if I rotate it back, then it's not going to show up anymore. Okay. All right, so then let's look at the themes. Now, this is going back to the that action, or so the app bar. Okay, so in here you probably have like material 13, so we're just changing this to material components and then dark action bar so that we can get that bar there. Okay, so that's that. All right, so adding the resource folders, remember new, and then Android resource directory. This is how we add the menu. So in here you have to scroll down to menu, and then press OK. Set that menu, and after you do that, you're going to create a new, and then menu resource file. You call in the fragment glucose list XML, and this is the one that we're editing. And in here, as you sign the code, we're just adding this new item. So it's going to be blank, and then you just have to add this item. Now, how do we add the icons? Well, you can go here and click on new, and then you click on vector asset right here. You click on vector asset, then you're going to go ahead and select clip art. If you have your own icons, you can go ahead and do that. And then from here, you get to pick whatever icon you want to choose. And I just click on the add. I mean, it makes sense, right, to add things. But later on, for your final assignment, you get to pick other icons that you want your to represent the features that you want to add to your app. So I press cancel. I'm gonna press I want to press OK, but I press cancel, and then the color. Here's where you have to change your color, and then you press next, and then press finish. Okay, so I'm gonna put cancel because I already have it here. All right. By the way, this is also where you can go ahead and change your icons, your app icons, for your app. Okay, so but all you have to do is put them here. Okay, so add him here. So for example, your icon launcher, you just have to change it to whatever you decide here. Okay, so anybody interested, you can go ahead and do that here. All right, and this is the theme glucose monitor. So whatever theme I picked and my themes that I showed you before. Okay. this one is already set up for you. You don't have to make changes. I'm just talking about if you want to go ahead and change your app icon, you can go ahead and do that. All right, so then now let's go a little bit into the code. All right, so the glucose DAO, we're adding this add glucose and then update glucose if you haven't had it before. Okay, so here add glucose, and here we're gonna do go ahead and add glucose, and we're calling that glucose. The database shouldn't be changed. Yeah, the date picker either, or the type converter, date picker's there. The glucose will stay the same. The adapter, so just to the application stays the same. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So what is changing is the entry. So first the detail view model. Okay. So in here we're gonna add the functions update glucose. All right. And we're going to change or we're going to add a function called onDateChosen. So this allows us to go ahead and pick a date. Okay, and then from here, go ahead and create this new record. So add glucose and then the new record in here. Okay. And then, and this is again, this is part of assignment 7 has this information, but we're pretty much passing in two values now. In this case, date and is new. Okay, so this allows us to say, if it already exists, just go ahead and, click on the date and pull that information from the database. Versus if it's new, then go ahead and, select a new date. So the entry fragment is the other thing that is changing. So in here, again, we're changing a few functions. Okay, so in here we're changing the binding glucose date, and this allows us to go ahead and again set up the set on click listener and use the navigation control to navigate using that action. So that's why this is commented out now. We're replacing that for the other one, and then towards the life cycle stays the same. Update UI stays the same. All right, so yeah, those are like pretty much what we're changing there. I think these are the things that we're just changing here. List history fragment. This is changing, right? So this is where I wanted to show you. So this is deprecated code, code that worked before. But pretty much we were creating onCreate, an override function called onCreate, and then that has a set option menu. So all these is using the previous API is pretty much deprecated. So I want to show you the new version. Okay, so in here we just go ahead and put everything on view created. So in on view created, we leave the view lifecycle owner the same pretty much. And what we're adding is this value called menu host. This menu host requires an activity. We add a menu provider. This menu provider does an onCreate to do the inflator, in this case the fragment glucose list menu that we've created. So fragment glucose list here, and then from here we're doing the on menu item selected. So when the menu is item menu is selected, then we go ahead and navigate to the action. Okay. In this case, to add a new entry, so show glucose entry in this case. And then, yeah, the lifecycle aware version, and that's it. Okay, so this view model stays the same. The glucose repository does change. Okay, so in here, because we're updating the glucose and we're adding the glucose, we're just adding those functions using coroutine scopes on launch. The main activity stays the same, and everything else pretty much stays the same. So these are the requirements. This is pretty much assignment 7. Make sure to create your video when you're doing this. And we are a bit ahead. You should have everything that you need for assignment 7 to be working. So next week, what we're going to do next week is we're gonna start looking into the final. Um, we're gonna go ahead and start like looking into the parts for the final. So looking at the different features that we can add in. That should bring us up to like towards the end of the course. So this is a 15-week course, so we're almost there. Putting us at about 3 weeks left to 3 weeks, yeah, 3 weeks left of the course. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be here to answer any, and we'll see you next time.